Hello, everybody. This is Narada Rishi Raja with Sacred Vibes Holistic Center, and today I have an interesting video. Today, this video is going to be about why a lot of my teachings trigger some folks. And I think I figured out the key thing, the thing that a lot of folks that may have been triggered by any of the teachings that I talk about have in common, okay? And first of all, my spiritual faith, it could be called Hinduism, but even Hinduism is actually a racial slur. It was based off of the Sindhu region and English people that have invaded that region. People of that region, they had a spirituality, and their spirituality was actually very, very diverse because their culture was very, very diverse. But it had a central understanding, which this perennial philosophy pops up multiple different times. Buddhism is essentially a different version of Hinduism, if we're looking at it directly. They're yogic-based understandings. So those two kind of go together with the perennial philosophy, but then we can bring Taoism, that speaks true to the perennial philosophy. And then we go a little bit further, Sufi mystics. We get Rumi, things like that. Guess what? Perennial philosophy. It transcended the religion. Jesus, perennial philosophy. He was actually teaching non-duality. He was teaching that. His followers didn't, and that got taken out with the Council of Nicaea. But if you read the Christ Sutras, which is every single word that has ever been written from Jesus, paints a completely different story. He also didn't think that he was the peak of perfection like a lot of people think. In India, Jesus, Yeshua, which is closer, he's called Isa. And he's actually up on the altar right along with Sri Yukteswar, Lahiri Mahasaya, and Maha Avatar Babaji, which is my yogic lineage. So with this, what we see is a repeating philosophy of non-duality, right? But also these people, they faced a lot of challenge because non-duality is very difficult to understand. Literally, it is the peak of human understanding. Vedanta means the end of knowledge. So teaching Advaita Vedanta, non-duality, end of knowledge, means that non-dual concept is the peak. But it means you have to go through a lot to get there. It means you have to understand that this system has to be controlled in a way. This is the temple, and how we maintain the temple determines our consciousness level. It determines whether we're able to understand things. A lot of people in spirituality talk about the expansion of consciousness, but I don't think a lot of them really understand what that means. It means that you're blocked a lot of the time because you have to have faith in something that you don't understand yet because you're not at that level of consciousness, right? That's where the faith portion comes in consciousness expansion, okay? But when we're talking about non-duality, in order to get to this understanding, which this is ultimate compassion, because that means you're no longer judging. You see it for what it is, but you no longer judge, so it's ultimate compassion. In order to do this, we have to control our chemical storehouse, which is our body. We have cortisol, we have all kinds of happy chemicals that are going on, dopamine, serotonin. We have all of these that can work for us or against us. We have a bunch of other chemicals, right? And they can work for us or against us. Our daily mindfulness practice, our DMP, our yogic practices, this is the science that teaches you how to manage those chemicals. And where people get caught up, one of the posts I recently put up, I used the frame, a prison of emotion. And where I think I'm triggering a lot of people in different ways is when they have this understanding that we're here to have a human experience. That's where they get caught up because they're like, well, no, I'm supposed to feel an emotion. No, you are. I'm not saying suppress any emotion. I'm saying do your daily work, your daily mindfulness activities, whatever those are for you. And the more you learn about the yogic sciences, the better you will be able to manage your system. The better you're able to manage your system, the more truth you're able to see, the more consciousness levels you're able to access. And no, that doesn't mean that somebody at a consciousness level right here is better than a consciousness level right here. No, we're all the same. The difference is the person that's at the consciousness level up here truly understands that. And they're not trying to change anybody, but they're still holding space for people to learn these teachings for the ones that want to come here, right? So it's never a force or saying you have to do this. No, no, no. If you want to experience happiness, you have to do this. Now, the reason is people would be, well, that's subjective. It's not. It's a chemical in your body. Every emotion you have is a chemical in your body. Every thought you have is to simply maintain chemical homeostasis in the body by sending it neuropeptides for certain emotions based off of previous programs. When you understand this, the true science of consciousness and the true science of the chemicals and emotions and thoughts in your body, you realize that they are not that important. The human experience you're here to experience is this. You are here to experience with your senses until you realize that that is not the way. And long enough, anybody that you've ever seen that's lived a life really experiencing their senses, eventually they get to a point where they realize that's not enough. All of these were hollow. Oh, wait, literally anything you can do on this earth, in this plane, it's temporary. It goes away. And eventually, our sun, which is in red giant stage, it's going to heat up so big, it's going to engulf the entire earth. What does that mean? It's all temporary. Your life is temporary in this body, but you have an eternal spirit. That eternal spirit is neither male or female, so everybody fighting about other people's genders or your own gender, guess what? You're wasting your time. You're wasting your energy. You're an eternal spirit. There is no gender on that. Sorry, there's not. You'll be put into whatever body that will teach you the lessons that you need to learn. We're not here to have the human experience. Well, yeah, we are in a way. We're here to have the human experience and learn that that human experience isn't the peak of existence, and we are more than that, and we can do more than that. But not if we root in only the senses. That is what will pull you away. That is what will create spiritual ego. Spiritual ego is because people do not already see the system as perfect. They want to change it. They think world peace is possible and everybody can be on the same level. Guess what? That's not possible, folks. No, the system is perfect because everybody is able to learn exactly what they need to learn in order to merge back with God's source consciousness. That complete yoga, union with that God source. However you define it, it doesn't matter. So I hope with this video it'll clarify. Although I know a lot that are originally offended by any of the Advaita Vedanta, which is discrimination towards me, mind you. It's religious discrimination. I hold my own on my own pages. Nobody has to look at it if you don't like it. If it offends you, move on. I love you still. I still have open arms for you whenever you want to come back. But this video I'm putting out here because I noticed that a lot of people are jumping to that trigger based off of their trauma response, based off of those chemical responses, because you're used to being offended by somebody like me. I get it. So the only solution to unity and truly understanding that is understanding Advaita Vedanta. Not because I said so, because it's the perennial philosophy. All those that transcend their religions, they go deeply within, they do the deep studies, they come to the same understanding, every single human that has done it, all across different cultures. That's why it's a perennial philosophy. There's also a great book called The Perennial Way, which describes a lot of this. All right, everybody, I hope that this clarifies and bridges the gap of communication. I have no anger and nothing but love for every single individual. even if you're working an exact opposite agenda of my service. Thank you for holding that space. You're creating the challenges for others, that way they can grow. They can decide which way they want to go. If they want to go to non-duality and permanence and understanding the truth, or if they want to go root deeply into the senses and have that experience more and more. Everyone's God. They all have equal say in their experience. So I have no judgment on anyone. I love you all. The namaskaram that I say, this is more than just a word. The namaskaram position, when we do this, this is complete unity. The masculine, the feminine coming together. The material, the physical, or the spiritual coming together. We are all one. And that is only understood through the concepts of non-duality, which is hard to grasp and takes a lot of experience and a lot of study and a lot of managing of the chemical storehouse. Anybody that wants to learn this, I've dedicated my entire life to teaching this. I hope that I can help. It is the only way to have happiness because it's the only way to understand what is permanent in a very impermanent existence that we have right now. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day on purpose and stay mindful, everyone. Namaskar.